Ready?
I'm ready.
Welcome back, everybody, to yet another podcast from Husky Hefe. Oops, my bad.
Welcome back to I Lost My Podcast. Excuse me. My bad. Listen, I had something in my throat. Leave me alone. Now, if are we rolling? We rolling, right? Okay, making sure. So, if this is your first time,
Stay on your side.
Listen, we're not gonna start today. Okay, so if this is your first time listening to us, again, welcome. We are I Lost My Podcast. I'm your girl, Michi G. I am the author of this beautifully written book, I Lost My Mom, Now What? Memoir of a Motherless Daughter.
Facts.
Like Mr. What was your name again?
I am your co-host, Husky Hefe, the Fat Fitness Model, Jose Cortez. Don't forget Jutro.
Jutro.
Yeah, I bring it all back. It's no shame in my game to be who I am.
And if you don't understand a Jutro reference, just go back a couple episodes.
You will find out.
You will find out. But anyway, if this is your first time listening to us, like I said, I'm the author of a book, which I wrote about my experience losing my mother to breast cancer. And so this podcast is a spinoff of that. Here at this podcast, we not only talk about grief, but we talk about different things you might go through, certain things that might keep you from grieving, and just every day-to-day things that we all struggle with.
Understanding. If it's one thing to say, if I may interject, I apologize.
Please do. Go ahead.
But this is a podcast about understanding on a deeper level, not necessarily cellular. I mean, we may touch on it a little bit, but understanding ourselves on a deeper level, because I am a firm believer. I don't know if you are a firm believer that that's what life is about. Life is about understanding. That's why you have those trials and those tribulations. So this podcast, we embody all that, and I can attest when death happens, that's when our eyes kind of, the wool is pulled from over our eyes. That veil is gone, and you start to realize, like, oh, life is way deeper than just Instagram and
superficial things,
yeah.
And we also have tough conversations that we don't have on a day-to-day basis. I know for me, this podcast is my personal therapy. I pray that it's helping you, but it's really to help me, because I do come from I don't know the word, it was the background of where, like most black families, we don't talk about certain tough things. We just sit with tough things and keep going and keep moving like nothing's happening. So this is the podcast for those conversations, and we're healing, basically. Long story short, we're healing over here. So that's what we're going to do. Welcome. We always start off every episode with checking in, so a mental health check-in. So I'll start with you, Husky Hefe.
Let's start with you. I think I always go first.
Do you always go first?
It's not fair to me.
It's not fair to you?
It's not fair to me that I always go first.
Okay, my bad.
So we usually start this podcast, guys, with a mental health check-in. Take these times seriously. So, Michi G, how would you say your mental health is for today, the week? Just talk to me.
I feel weird saying that, like, my mental health is good, because first of all, I can look at you. Don't be acting up in front of company. Anyway, no, I do kind of feel weird. So compared to our season 1 episodes, if you couldn't tell, if you hadn't listened to those episodes, like, I was really going through it when we first started recording, like literally first started going through. My mental health was not the best. But here recently, to fast forward, make it more present, my mental health has been amazing. And a part of me does feel weird for always saying it's like an 8 or 9, but I've been pretty leveled out here recently. I'll say an 8 because we just got through eating dinner, and low key I'm trying to stay away from dairy, y'all. And my body always lets me know when I'm not supposed to have something. So I'm kind of just witnessing my body break down all the dairy I just had. So yeah, so that's about it. What about you, Husky Hefe?
Yeah, about her dairy thing, guys.
We had
She
pizza.
mentioned she wanted what.
I did.
Yeah,
I know,
but
y'all.
yeah,
We did
but
good
anyway,
earlier today.
How's my mental health? Back to me. My mental health, I would say it's if I was to rank it, I'd give it about I'm always somewhere in that 7 range.
7. Okay.
No, I'm really good. I'm gonna say it's about a 9
What
today.
makes you
I've been
question
chill.
that it's a 7?
I just say 7 feels like it's that number, but I'm probably about at a 9 when I'm like self-reflecting, looking back over stuff. I was cool. I ain't let certain situations affect me too much that could have got to me probably last week. So I'm gonna say a 9. I'm gonna say a 9, and I'm coming off a great weekend. So
yes,
a
a
very
really great
eventful weekend.
Yes, yay. Okay. So after our mindful check-in, and hopefully you guys assess yourselves how you feel. Sometimes we do explore this thing, but we're gonna keep it moving. You sit with that, ask yourself, rate your day, your week, how you're feeling. Next, we always have mindful breathing and stretch. So everybody close your eyes. If you're driving, listen to us. Please don't close your eyes. But if you're watching us or listening to us and you're not doing anything where you can close your eyes, just go ahead and close your eyes and take a deep breath. Take a couple deep breaths. Breathe in. Breathe out. Breathe in. Breathe out.
I try to blow over the mic.
Yeah, my bad. One more time. Breathe in. And breathe out. Go ahead and stretch. We never really have much room to stretch.
Until we get our new facility for the podcast.
Yes.
Then,
we'll be able to do something like that.
That's why y'all gotta donate. That's why y'all gotta make sure y'all donate to the I Lost My Podcast. You can find us on Venmo. You can find us on Cash App. Donate. Your donations help us get better
PayPal?
equipment. PayPal as well.
Everything
PayPal
I
as
Lost
well.
My Podcast.
So I Lost My Podcast. Yeah. So we can get better equipment, better space, and rent costs. So
Facts. So yeah. So hopefully you guys are all stretched out, breathed out. Is that a word?
breathless.
Correct me. Hopefully you're more relaxed.
Oxygenated. Hopefully your brain is oxygenated.
All of that. Because we want y'all to feel good when you listen and relax. So hopefully we achieve that. So we have an amazing topic. Another one. I feel like almost every topic is like, I always say it's my favorite. My favorite topics are the tough conversations to have, the things that the average person does not think about. So this is another one of my favorites. So today's episode, if you haven't already been able to tell by the title, we are talking about self-accountability. So before I give the Google definition, what do you think that self-accountability, what does it mean to you?
Self-accountability is the true definition of being selfish. I don't think y'all get what I just said.
Say that, run it back.
Self-accountability is the true definition of being selfish. Or let's say the positive definition of being selfish. Because you have to know yourself to be accountable.
Okay.
It might, I don't know if I'm even portraying this right. But yeah, it's really just you taking ownership of the ish that you do. The not just the positives but the negatives. So that's what self-accountability is. Taking ownership of all things that you have a part in. Because you do have a part in every situation. And yeah, so what about you? What's your definition?
I was just going to say being accountable for self, okay? At the end of the day, all you have is yourself. Be accountable for you. Nobody is going to hold you to a certain standard but yourself. So, I feel like nobody can keep it real with you but you.
Keep it real with
If that
yourself
makes
no matter
sense.
what.
Period. Yeah.
Same self that said they love you, they'll set you up.
Okay, this not the podcast, but it can be. Okay, but no, yeah, short and sweet. I think it's just having complete accountability, or like you said, ownership of yourself and what you do and what you say, and things like that. So, according to Google, of course, we got to ask good old Googlers.
We got our research department to pull up some information.
Facts. So, what is self-accountability by definition? It is an obligation or willingness to accept responsibility or to account for one's actions.
Hello.
We hit the, nail on the, we hit the hammer on the nail.
No, you hit the nail on the head.
The hammer on the nail.
Anyways.
Anyway, yes, so that's self-accountability. So we have a couple of examples for those. I mean, it's self-explanatory, but just in case you need some examples of self-accountability, also got some of those too. One is taking time for self-reflection and intentionally learning from mistakes and shortcomings. So I think that intentional hit me different because I only say we don't do this as people enough, the self-reflection part of it, because it's so easy to me to, I hate the train that goes by, y'all. Hopefully y'all can't hear that, but it's so easy not to reflect on yourself and what you do and just things that come with you. So I think that if you take the time to self-reflect and be intentional about learning from your mistakes and shortcomings and owning up to it, if that makes sense. You sleepy? And then we also have asking for help when you need it. That's a big thing. Mm-hmm. I feel like pride plays a part in that, can play a part in that, because a lot of people don't ask for help when they need it. So, and then the last example is examining and taking ownership for your own role in creating the problem and or contributing to finding the solution, even if the problem wasn't your fault. So what do you feel about those examples? Or can you think of any other examples or anything you want to add to that? Or
nah, they're pretty straightforward and straight to the point. Mm-hmm. I would pose the question, if you was to rank your self-accountability, let's go from prior to, how can I put this? Prior to your mom passing, mm-hmm. How was your self-accountability?
I'm going to be honest and transparent and say that I don't think I had too much self-accountability. And I say that because so many different facets I could explain that. One, just I've always naturally been or come off as more of a quiet person. And so a lot of people wouldn't look to me necessarily to be like, oh, well, Michi was wrong in this situation or that, because I camouflaged it, certain things well. I just, everybody would always be like, oh, she's a nice girl. They would never pay me no attention, but I would always be like, okay, how do I say this? I would explain certain situations, and I deep down inside would be like, okay, you're only telling one part of the story. You're not being accountable for yourself. But because I come off as quiet, nobody's going to check me and be like, you in the wrong or whatever. So long story short, I don't think I had too much accountability. I couldn't keep it real with myself prior to my mom's passing bout for certain things. But now that I've identified, like, this podcast really helped me to, and shadow work, which is the episode, go back and listen to that. But it really helped me to identify whether people see me or not, or I'm vocal about certain things or not. It helps me to put myself in check and be like, okay, Michi, you are not right in this situation. You need to take accountability for that. Or you're talking negatively about somebody and like, oh, they're doing this wrong and that wrong and this wrong, but are you being too hard on them? What are you doing? You know what I'm saying? That's a big thing. I think we critique so much that it's like, okay, you critiquing, but a lot of times we project certain things of ourselves, if that makes sense, on other people. So
I think a big thing with self accountability on that critiquing mm-hmm. aspect, before I let you leave it, is mm-hmm. that, okay, let's say you are critiquing somebody. Oh, so and so didn't do this, or he didn't make his cheesecake like me. But are you doing your part? Can you prove that you can do better? So that's the biggest thing with critiquing. Are you holding yourself accountable to do better, or even try and show? You really ain't showing them up because they can care less.
Yeah.
But are you doing good to show yourself, because at this point it's your ego trying to talk, or trying to find a way to push through. So it's like, are you gonna tame your ego, or are you just gonna just let it flow and be a beast and be evil? Like, so you got to be self accountable in that.
What about you?
I am great at self accountability. I've always been like, and I think that's applause. I give applaud and congratulations or whatever. I give the credit to my mom.
You tip your hat to your mom.
Yeah, I tip my hat to my mom. And some of to her. I'm sorry, because it wasn't too much faltering. It was like she taught you not to lie. Have I lied? Hell yeah. But in essence, she taught you, you know what I'm saying? You stand firm. You say what happened. Like, I told the story of me throwing a rock. Like, I couldn't lie. I had to be accountable for my actions. And I was like, I could have been like, I don't know what happened. Could have played it stone cold off, but I was like, Mom just gonna go tell the truth. So I held myself. I've always had that type of thing. So it was like she always taught me, put it into me, or instilled in me that if you do something, you better be ready for the consequences or repercussions, or you got to know that it's something else got to come. So, like I tell the story of like, okay, you missed the bus. Well, now what you got to do? That's on me. I missed the bus. I knew I should have got out of school and stopped playing, you know what I'm saying? But I feel like kicking with the homies, or I feel like, you know what I'm saying, trying to be, a little Mac Daddy.
Mac Daddy.
Nah. But I always feel like I've been great at self-accountability.
That's dope. But also, do you think because you're the only boy in your family compared to like with 3 sisters, do you feel like that plays a role?
Boy, I'm gonna tell you, she ain't take it light on me. I mean, my sisters, they got into some. Look, my mama ain't scared to crack. She wasn't scared to crack that whip on her children. But with that being said, they got a little more leeway. Like, I couldn't transfer schools. My sisters, they tried this school, that school. I couldn't transfer. My mom was like, nope. I couldn't bring a C home. You know what I'm saying? She like, nope, back to the drawing board. You need to get it together. It was always Josh, get it together, but she pushed me a lot harder and made me be more accountable for my actions. My sisters got it too. It's just girls versus girls.
Like a lot of girls.
Yeah, like eventually the alpha woman has to flaunt or be free, and all my sisters are like strong-willed and gangster.
Not gangster.
But yeah, so
okay,
it was hard on me. Well, I took heed a little bit more.
Yeah. But I mean, again, I feel like we also shout out your mother on almost every episode, because now she did a darn good job, though, so kudos to my deuce. Also, so some things that are not examples of self-accountability. One is ignoring a problem rather than recognizing it. I feel like I've done that in the past. Denying a problem exists, hoping it'll go away. I think that was the end of that was the rock situation. You was like, oh, maybe if it didn't, maybe if I just take a nap, maybe it'll go away.
I thought if I just go to bed, this is all a dream.
Man. And then the last one is finding a scapegoat. You want to elaborate on finding a scapegoat? With not being accountable? So is it like just trying to find an excuse as to why you did it, or this person? Okay, cool.
Most
cool, gotcha.
No, not necessarily a reason, but it's the goat is a physical thing, or you putting it to, okay, it's 3 of us. It's the throw the rock and hide your hand analogy.
Okay.
So I throw the rock. I broke the glass window, but me and my cousin Corey, we got in a lot of bull crap. We got in trouble. Okay, so we used to be pyros. Like, so we was like pyromaniacs.
Oh, I'm not pyro. My bad.
So we found a lighter, and we trying to light the lighter. We trying to smoke
Catching
cigarettes.
everything on fire.
We stupid. So we in the backyard and like, so both of us, we playing with fire, right? But I can say that's my soldier, because when we got caught, it wasn't no, man, he did it or he did it. It was like,
nah, we did it.
We was accountable. But in that instance, I could have been like, man, nah, they'll Corey. That's finding a scapegoat. Finding an excuse to be like, it wasn't me. He had me, or she had me doing this.
She made me do it, or this made me do it. Or,
yeah, and I always attribute it to something like physical, like a person, but it can be either substances, you know, like it can be substances to the point where, okay, I don't remember because I blacked out after I drank the liquor. So now you blaming the liquor.
Instead of saying, my bad, I drunk the liquor,
that's me.
That's my bad. I own up to that. Owning up to things. Yeah.
So it's, nah, I was
It didn't. I'm sorry.
Well, it'll start making. So it'll be something like, oh, I got on my level, you know, and I ain't know what happened. Like, no, bro, you got to realize that you chose to get on your level. So even on your level, you have to live with that. Like, I think I heard I don't know nothing about the case, but it was this thing I saw on the internet, and this lady story comes out. She blows through this light.
Oh yeah.
And runs over all these people and kill people. And the speed she was going, if you ever saw the video, she was a nurse, and she was the story is that she was a nurse. She was upset because of boyfriend. Yeah. Don't know how true it is, but if that is the case, she has to sit. You can't blame your emotions.
Or because you've been drinking, or because the boyfriend cheated.
So her scapegoat, if she was to do it, it's his fault. Nah, that's your fault.
You got in that car and you got behind the wheel inebriated or like under the influence, and you just was like, I don't care about nothing to no one, and now you messed up. Like,
so it's like, don't try that right there. Don't try to scapegoat out of it. You know what I'm saying? That's you. You did that.
Ooh, so that makes me think about and I think, so we were going to talk about like our personal issues with like self-accountability or experiences with accountability, but it kind of made me think about like how not taking accountability can really mess up your life. Like, what would the world, like, think about it for a second, with all the problems going on in the world, and even like reality shows, when we see like the drama and stuff, how much better would the world be if people just took accountable for what they did? Yes, I said this, but let me explain why. Or this wasn't my intention. Let's clearly communicate. Like, how better would the world be?
It would be great. And let me take a time to say, Kanye West, if you ever see this,
and he will.
Let me go ahead. We might have to go ahead and tag you.
Manifest. He will.
Kanye West, we're going to tag you in this. He showed us an example of self-accountability by taking it on the chin and saying, Sway was right.
Oh, recently, yeah.
Recently,
you ain't got the answer, Sway.
The craziness that he did, the ego trip, and you know, he still circled back. And that goes to speak to him. I know y'all don't like
extra that come with it. We understand.
We understand
that aspect.
But
of
it's
it.
like, you got to understand, like, that's a true example on
self accountability.
Yeah, that's a true example on the Hollywood stage, because a lot of people, you know, pay attention to the celebrityism and all that type of stuff. But that's a true testament to somebody being accountable for their actions. And yeah, throw Sway a couple mil, man.
Facts, you got it clearly. But I want to think, I guess, self accountability. What comes to mind with that is like relationships, So I'm wondering, I can only go off my relationship because I'm actually in it, or like few other people's relationships that I just hear, or like my own parents' relationships, what I grew up seeing. If I had to assess, well, if the relationship isn't mine personal, I'm not gonna give my opinion on it. But ours, I can say for ours, specifically for this last year or two, like I'm proud of both of us because we really have been taking accountability. I was gonna talk about the couple episodes, it might have been it wasn't the last episode, but I think it was the one before. We kind of talked about like a disagreement we had in Atlanta, where we were going to like the botanical gardens, but it's like we kind of wanted to go but we kind of didn't, and we kind of both got attitudes because nobody could like come up with something with like, yes, nobody really stepped up and took charge and was like, yes, we're going, or no, we're not. We just were kind of like, speak up, speak up, speak up. And so we got mad and let him have his space. He walked a little bit ahead of me, I walked a little bit behind. And eventually we both were like, all right, let's sit down and have a conversation.
We literally sat on a stone brick wall and was like, hold on.
Sat to the side and had a conversation. And it wasn't, we did not yell at each other. We did not say, you wrong for da-da-da-da-da. We weren't using the scapegoat. Well, not really. But we clearly communicated
we talked it out.
that, you know, basically the reason was in our separate lives, we're in certain positions throughout our lives where we're forced to make decisions for other people. And we just both, because we know how strong we each other are, we just wanted the other to just like take control because, you know, we just both basically wanted a break from having to make decisions.
Having to be that person.
But I think about that conversation often because it's so easy for that to have been an argument, because I clearly communicated, hey, I'm having to step up at this area in my life, this area in my life, and this area in my life. And when nobody else can make a decision, I make the decisions. I don't want to make the decisions. You could have been like, well, I also da-da-da-da, and it could have been a back and forth. But it's like, no, acknowledge what I said, and you say what you say, and I acknowledge what you said. Yeah. We both take accountability and talk it out. No ego, no nothing. Like, I understand where you're coming from.
And I think a big thing to say, too, in that self-accountability realm that we was in the trends, but you have to apologize.
For sure.
You have to apologize, and you have to recognize, or is it recognize? You have to acknowledge, let it be known your part in the confusion.
Yes.
So
own up to it.
I think my conversation more like, look, I apologize because I was under the impression that this, and I was wrong, and I shouldn't have did that. Mm-hmm. Like, that's a big thing. So you have to, I read the book Master of Self, and you have to know yourself. You have to not beat yourself up. You have to not lash out. You have to come really back in. And if you did go to that point, then guess what? You got to reel it back in by saying, man, I shouldn't have did that. I shouldn't have did that. Mm-hmm. And I think that's what we experienced that day, and it was beautiful. Mm-hmm. Like, I'm as chill as come. Mm-hmm. I mean, I'm gonna crack jokes. Like, sometimes too often she tell me, boy,
you play all day.
but that's how I like to keep it. I like to keep it, you know what I'm saying, happy, chill. So
ooh, I got another example. We don't have arguments. We have disagreements here and there. I can probably count on one hand how many disagreements we've had. Another one I thought about where I didn't take accountability. The time I left. We're gonna be transparent on this. I forgot. I don't even remember what the disagreement was.
I know what it was. So you want me to tell folks?
What was it? Wait, was it something? Oh, yes. Okay, you can tell us. So,
all right, y'all. So here it is, man. My wife isn't big on jewelry.
I can't keep up with it.
That's just not her forte. And I'm trying to teach her the lessons. So I like watches. I do like watches. And I'm trying to teach her the lessons of, you know, why do you need a watch? Not an Apple Watch, but why do you need
an actual watch?
Actual watch. So, and me trying to teach her and stuff, I'm like, okay, I'm gonna buy you a nice watch, and I go and get this nice watch and spend my money, and I'm like, this is yours, and put it on the wrist. It's beautiful.
You bought me and your mom like matching.
Yeah. So yeah, that was the thing. So I bought both of my ladies my main lady's watches at the time. So I'm like, it's special. It was around Mother's Day, so it was Mom's Mother's Day, and I was like, yours is, mother yet. But so I was like, yo, this means something, and I'm trying to teach her something. So she goes to work anyway. Let me not go on my rant, but she goes to work anyway, and she's like, oh, I'm hustling, bustling, and she's like, I left my watch. So she goes and checks for it, and guess what, guys? It's gone.
So let me explain my side. So I had wore the watch to work quite a few times, actually. That was maybe sixth time. I wore it to work quite a few times, but that was the first time I was so unusually busy at work that my wrist got sweaty, and I was like, oh, let me just take it off and put it in front of me on my desk. Well, I was moving so fast that I don't know if I left it and I definitely didn't put it back on, I don't think. But when I came back the next day, I was like, oh shoot, where's my watch? And long story short, I think somebody took it. And I tried all I could do. I reached out to security. I tried to see if they had like cameras on the floor, and so I'm communicating to him, but also at the same time he was having a rough day at work and kind of didn't want to hear that. That was like icing on the cake. But at the same time, I'm already beating myself up about this. So yeah, so I was already like how could you lose this? And on top of that, it was sentimental to me because he did buy it, like me and his mom matching. It was sentimental to me. I didn't want him to think like, oh, I'm just being careless and da-da-da. Like, I was really messed up about it. So when I got home, I'm already like in a bad mood. I'm already crying because, I didn't try to do that on purpose. I just was moving so fast. But then he came home and I kind of didn't want to talk. He kind of wanted to talk about it, and I didn't necessarily though he wasn't being rude or nothing, he was calmly explaining his point or where he was coming from, and I took offense to it. He didn't yell at me. It wasn't his tone. It's just the fact that I had beaten myself up about it, and I didn't know how to explain to him how hurt I personally was. Like, I understand you're hurt because you spent the money, but I wanted you to know how hurt I was. And I don't know, I didn't grow up learning about communication. My communication style was just to run away. Like, it was just, so that's what I did. I left the house. I didn't say nothing to him. I left the house and I just rode around, and long story short. And so eventually I came home and we had a conversation, and he was like, that's not how we do things. Like, don't just leave the house. Anything could have happened. And yeah, we just had a conversation and cleared it up.
To what she says, don't, to the women or to the men out there, if y'all going through a situation and y'all so upset and you just have to leave, I would rather you walk than to get in the car upset, like we just talked about in the situation of if that was true, it was mad at the boy. But in that situation of the nurse, I would rather you walk and just cool off than to get in your car and go somewhere, and it's dark. And if it's dark,
it was dark,
you might as well just go sit
and it was
outside
rainy too.
Yeah, so you might as well just. So nevertheless, my tone was, and just so you know, the day of, well, she knows, but the day of, it was a rough day for me at work. I had been standing and walking, and it was crazy. And I was like, okay, it was kind of like icing, but I was getting over it. I was like, you could have just waited. So I told her, like, if it's some bad news on that instance, like, if it ain't nothing detrimental to your health, you know what I'm saying? It can wait till I get home, because I can handle it better at home. Not if I'm already out. Now, that day, it was like, wham. I'm just like, it was the last straw. But I just wanted you to hear me tell you, like, it's okay, but this is why it's sentimental, and this is why, and all you had to do is, I apologize, but
I think for me, eventually I got to a point where I was like, I own up, I apologize for leaving and not staying and having a conversation. But I think for me, I was so hurt, and I feel like you didn't know how hurt I was, and I didn't know how to communicate that properly. So because I didn't grow up communicating properly, I don't know, for me it was like my way of figuring it out. Just leave and let it process by yourself instead of staying like here, and then there's tension, and like, do you talk first? Do I talk first? It was just typical couple stuff. But eventually we came back. I apologized. We both apologized, and we moved forward.
Well, she thought she was gonna text me, y'all, and try and get me together, but I was like, no, ma'am, Pam. No, ma'am, Pam. I don't play that. Look, I mean, if I got a problem with you, I'd rather bring it to the door, to your face. I don't want to play the texting
But
game.
see, I'm learning that though, because this is a bigger conversation, which it'll be a part 2, I guess, to this. But ego, as much as this conversation is about self accountability, ego is a big thing. Because I'm not gonna lie, it was more so ego for me. Because initially, we're all human. Everybody's natural reaction is to not blame myself, or even though we know we in the wrong, we don't want to admit that we're wrong, so we lash out or yell or we walk out, and it's like, no, just admit you're wrong. But our ego won't let us, like, no, we gotta go through this motion first before we can come to it. So I think for me, that's what that was. Just I had to check my ego a little bit.
So here's a question. Let's pivot a little bit. Self accountability is still the topic. What's an area, or
excuse me,
can you give, I mean, okay, I just started. So I'm trying to kind of like say, what's an area in life where you've just self accountability, you failed, but you may have gotten better over time. I can speak for myself in like working out and eating right. Before like the last few years or so, man, my self accountability is trash, or was trash. I'd be like, forget it, or stop doing it. Like, is it an area in your life where you was like, self accountability, you just like, nah?
Yes. So I'll say I'm an amazing like planner. Like, ever since I was younger, I could plan out my workouts. I'm gonna work out. I'm gonna do like, I don't know, 10 sit-ups and 20 push-ups and this, and I would literally draw a calendar and like plan all this stuff out, and I would never execute. And like, so to today's time, granted, we're doing way better now, but I'm good at making goals and not living up to it, and like procrastinating, and not being accountable for like, hey, no, you're BSing, like, you're supposed to do, like, so an example, currently I have 2 books I'm reading, and I've been reading one since July and another about a month now, but I was like, I'm not going into October reading these 2 books, like, they both got to be done, and I'm almost there. But so I told him, if I have any downtime and you see me on my phone, get on my head, like, no, why are you not reading? Like, hold me accountable. But I also need to hold myself accountable and do that, which I've been doing a lot better. So I'll say, I guess I'm getting better with actually planning and executing. Now, could I be better at a lot of those things? Yes, but I
caught her lacking. I was like, hey, ain't you supposed to be on that? Look,
on my lunch, it was on my second break at work, because he was working in here, and so I was like, oh, I can chill. It's only 15 minutes, so. But yeah.
Anyway, she be telling,
that's 15 minutes
she
I could have been
asked
reading.
me to hold her accountable, which is fine, but she gonna throw a little toot. Y'all ain't seen it.
So,
y'all don't understand.
Sometimes I genuinely don't be having an attitude. You do take it as attitude. I'll be like, because I do check myself with attitude too. So if he tells me certain stuff, I'm like, okay, I'll say it like that. But in my head, I'm really like, no, okay. Like, yes, he's right. But my ego is trying to jump out and give real attitude, but I'm not giving real attitude.
I need a hat, because that's all cap.
Boy,
nah,
he really thinks
so listen,
like...
Listen.
I promise.
If she's telling me to hold her accountable, and I'm like, okay, I'm finna hold you accountable, but I got a thing when people smack their lips, like...
But it's a habit.
But nah, that's a habit. Like, all right, so I guess from where I'm raised, Mom's was like, you saying, hey, tell me do something right now. You tell me do something.
Go take out the trash.
You see what I mean? So look, she said, go take out the trash, and I go. That ain't no.
For me, that's how I process. I be like, oh, my bad, I'm sorry. It's too close to me. But anyway, sometimes that's how I process. I be like, okay.
No, it's
or
not
I'll
okay.
breathe.
It's either.
So okay. If that's how, let me say this. If that's how you feel, I apologize, and I will continue to work on my responses. I'll try not to. No, like seriously, it's a habit for me to smack my lips. Cause I did used to give attitude like to my mama or like my dad whenever they would ask me to do stuff. So it's a natural response. But I own up to it. I apologize. Moving forward, outside of the podcast, I will try not to smack my lips and try not to give attitude. But I feel like if you tell me to do something.
Hey, can you go put those clothes in the washer for me?
Okay. But is that attitude?
Are you practicing like a good response?
Yeah.
That's how you
I feel like I respond that way sometimes. But okay, so here's the thing. So because I know like, okay, sometimes I do give attitude, I'll be trying to like, okay, don't respond in a way that's gonna come off like sarcastic or attitudinal to him. So it may come off that way because I'm like trying to like respond the right way, but it sounds sarcastic, if that makes sense. But like long story short, I promise I don't be trying to give an attitude, but he'll spark it up and be like, you giving attitude. I'm like, I'm not, I promise.
And I don't be saying you giving attitude like you making me sound like I'm Ike Turner or something. But
I know.
Hey, anime bullet.
You cake anime.
But I just be like, dang, I'm calm. I know how to calmly put your ass in your place. Not just you, but anybody watching this. I'm gonna do it calm, like that's okay.
I do feel like that though. Like all jokes aside, I feel like sometimes I can tell when I'm finna give attitude outside of you too. Like when it's probably gonna come off like I'm having an attitude about responding to somebody, and so I try to like clean it up and be like, oh, okay. But like to me that feels sarcastic if I'm just like, oh, okay. Like,
so do you feel like self accountability? What's the benefits? Is it a benefit to it? Mm-hmm. Is it a benefit? Can you be overly self accountable? Can it be?
Yes, I don't think you should be like a yes man. So if you're like telling me, hey, you messed up here, there, like sometimes depending on, I guess it's situational. You're not gonna always mess up at a lot of stuff. So it's just subjective. But I think as long as you're aware of your own intentions and what you meant to do and what you didn't mean to do, I mean, I don't see nothing wrong with it.
So I kind of bring that up because a lot of times we do try to be self-accountable, but we end up apologizing. And you get into this apologizing phase, especially in some places like the workplace, and it be like you said, oh, this, and you like, I'm sorry, my bad, my apologies.
But did you mean it? Or did you really?
Yeah, and it's like in some instances, it's probably not even your fault.
Yeah.
But you're apologizing for situations. So it's like, really take a step back before you start, you know what I'm saying, reacting and acting on situations, because you don't want to make that self-accountability turn into, like you said, people pleasing or butt kissing, or you know what I'm saying, because now I feel like you always feeling I'm in that apologetic
you're in that fawn state,
if you
appeasing, how we talked about.
So if you always doing that, then eventually you becomes like, oh, I'm pitiful, like I'm a fawn, I'm just I have to be.
Yeah I'm not gonna lie, you always say work, and I'll be like, yes, I agree with that, because like sometimes at work, like certain emails, and people email me certain things, and I'm like, okay, let me check old emails just to make sure I did what I was supposed to do. And sometimes it is like, yeah, I did do what I was supposed to do, but because they brought it to me the way they brought it to me, or they're higher ups, I'll be like, it's my natural reaction to be like, oh, sorry about that, but per this email, whatever. I don't know, sometimes it's something I'm still working on, but the workplace, that's another topic.
Yeah, like, so it's like in those,
the workplace is separate because that's your money maker.
Right. So in those emails, you kind of gotta I just say kind of be mindful. And to people receiving emails, know that not everything is coming off as aggression or whatchamacallit. Just get clarity before you start doing all that apologizing, because you know what I'm saying, it starts to work against your. I'm just speaking from experience. So I've been in a situation where it's like, okay, I gotta send this and do this, and then I'm like, sorry, my bad. But then now it starts to beat against your confidence of knowing your job, because now you're feeling like mistake, and now your day is dwindling because now you've been overly self-accountable or self-critical.
Yeah.
Now it's now that self-accountability has become destructive to you. So you got to be like, whoa, let me look at these situations. Not everything is a problem from me. Like if somebody may just be saying, hey, did you email so-and-so? You don't have to say, oh, my bad. No, you say, own it right now. It is what it is.
Yeah, I will say self-accountability does make me check myself all the time. It makes me probably too aware of myself. Cause like even at work, if I have to send emails to like coworkers, oh, you did this wrong or you did that wrong, or make sure next time this happens. Like sometimes I'm always like, is my tone right? Like, am I? And I try to either like, hey, I'm sorry, I didn't mean to. Hopefully that didn't come off that way, or you know, I'm always in my head about it. But I don't know. I always want to create a. Long story short, I always want to create a space where like you can come to me and tell me, hey, this came off the wrong way, and I don't want to get defensive and like, no, I didn't, you know. I want to be like, okay, I apologize. Case in point, I was gonna say another example. In my friend group years ago, we had a friend that like felt left out of something, and back then we like didn't get it because we were like, I'm like, what do you mean? Like, we're naturally together. It's not like we plan these events, whatever. And I think about, when we talk about self-accountability, I think about that whole situation, which I won't go into too much detail, but I think about that situation often because, like, we didn't really get her point. But it's like, you know, I can't tell a person how to feel if I hurt them or if something we did hurt them. All I can do is say, I didn't intentionally mean to do that, and I apologize. So, you know, whether it's your friend group, your marriage, your relationship, like, just make sure your people straight, man. Like, don't be too big to apologize and take accountability.
I had a couple situations I'm gonna touch on, where I just had to like step back and be like, oh man, Josh, what was you thinking? And it was I was in Dallas kicking it with my boys, and we had some drinks and stuff like that, and somebody wanted to drive and probably want the best decision, but I was in, sometimes I get at fault for being playful Josh. I was like, come on bro, let's go. And let's just say he was not in the best position to be driving, and you know, we made it safe, but it was a little rocky. And you know, I had my other homeboys who kind of was like, they was pissed, and I could just tell like they was upset. And you know, like I said, I was playing. So after I calmed down and looked at the situation when they came back, I'm talking about they pissed. And you know, so I'm like, I pulled him to the side, I said, hey bro, this is my bad, bro. And you gotta be like that, because I was like, I egged on the situation, and that situation could have ended badly with one bad turn. You know what I'm saying? One flick of the wrist on the steering. So it's like, you have to step up, and you have to, in certain situations, you have to be that person to be like, okay, I'm gonna put it on the line. Like, this is me being God body.
Okay, God body.
And then it was another situation, work instance, and my boy at the time, we felt like it was, well, I felt like I wasn't wrong. He felt like he wasn't wrong, but you know, we hashed it out right then and there. You know,
Bless you.
oh, excuse me, I'm sorry, y'all. But we hashed it out right then and there, because I was like, look, first and foremost, I don't want money to come between. If I consider you a friend, money should never come between me and you as a friend. You know what I'm saying? And if you feel like I did you wrong, I apologize for you feeling that way, but I apologize for my part in it. But also, let me tell you my end. And even with me telling him my end, he was kind of like, oh, okay, now I understand. So, you know what I'm saying? You have to, on both parties, again, if both parties, if it's like an instance like that, if both of y'all are holding each other accountable, then it's going to be beautiful, and it's not going to hurt you in the long run. Like, I ain't want that friendship to be damaged, and that's still my boy to this day. So, you know.
Yeah. I guess with self-accountability, I guess some of the last closing out arguments.
Well, wait. I don't want to close it yet.
Oh, we ain't got closing now. Bring it in.
Okay, so look. After the situation, losing your mom, and do you feel like your self-accountability took another hit? If that makes sense, do you get what I'm trying to say? So, okay, here's an example. In a previous podcast, we did an interview with our friend and artist Quiz Cantrell.
Shout out to Quiz.
He stated that after the situation with his brother, dad, he started to kind of lean on substances, but he was like, I wasn't available. So, you know what I'm saying? He wasn't showing up, which is self-accountability. Like, in situations, you have to show up. Do you feel like you took a hit? Yours took a hit? Like, did you pull back? Like, nah, it ain't gotta be me, or I ain't gotta do it because I'm hurting right now.
Yeah. Mine more so came, maybe that's not what you're talking about, but mine was more so like isolation, like just not wanting to be bothered, and I guess I could have spoken up and told like friends and family how I was feeling and what I was going through. So maybe that's that self-accountability aspect, but also I feel like it's a part of grief. Like, I just was going through a lot and I didn't know how to explain it at the time. But now that I think that which the grieving process is ongoing. So even though I'm feeling better now, you know, I could very much eventually go back into an isolation stage where I don't want to be around people. But I forgot where I was going with this. But yeah, I think I take accountability for.
So I bring that up. I kind of bring that up just so I can get into this. To the people listening, it's tough. It's tough. This statement is tough. The world goes on, right?
Yeah.
The world goes on, and we know you hurt. This other statement is go through it. Go through that hurt, but the world goes on. The person that you lost or that situation that was traumatic, you have to hold yourself accountable to get out that rut. That's kind of what I was trying to lean to see if you felt like, okay, you was like, okay, now I'm not going to do this just because, you know what I'm saying, mom's is gone. I'm not going to do this because I lost my homeboy. I just got to, it's like, I have to say to anybody listening, let's get up out that rut. We have to hold ourselves accountable to do the things that they will want you to do. Because I'm going to tell you, the realest thing, I know you hurt and you miss that person, and you know what I'm saying, those situations hurt. But that person, in the case of death, that person would not want you to stop.
Yeah.
So it's like, hold yourself accountable to get up, to get back to it.
I will say, okay, now that you said that, with the grieving process, it is, I won't say it's easy for us to say, you know, hey, we just lost somebody we love, so this is why I'm feeling this way, or this is why I'm reacting this way. I feel like, yes, you're going to feel a certain way because you lost your loved one, but don't use it as an excuse to like hurt people that you love, or well, because I lost my mom, now I'm lashing out on you for no reason. And it's like, it's like, you don't deserve that. Right. You're trying to be my support and be there for me. So I think even in the grieving process, like, and it does take a bigger person to really tap in. I won't even say it takes a bigger person. It just takes a person that's aware of themselves and wants to genuinely become a better person to like be accountable and admit when like, hey, I'm going through something right now. I didn't mean to say that way to you. I genuinely apologize. I am so sorry. And don't keep doing that and keep apologizing and keep doing that and keep apologizing, like, because now you're wearing down the trust of the person that's trying to be there for you. I can't say I don't think I did that as bad, but also I write a lot in my journal and stuff, so more so I'll vent to that than lash out, hopefully. But yeah, please don't do that, y'all, if you're grieving.
Yeah. So to that brother Quez Cantrell that did happen to bring up that that kind of not, it sat with me too, because like you could just tell
a lot of people do that though when they grieve.
It's deep for him to even know that. Mm-hmm. Now, not saying it's still a work, and it's still a, you know what I'm saying, you have to work towards it, so nobody's gonna be perfect, even after understanding that, but you have to work. You have to work towards doing the right things.
Yeah.
But yeah, man.
I was gonna even talk about self-accountability. So as kids, which we're thankful for, like, I won't even say which family members, but certain family members that you witness them doing certain things, and you know, now that we're older and we try to have conversations with them, and it's like you want self-accountability for that person. You just want that person to be like, hey, I admit to X, Y, and Z. I take accountability. I know I'm not perfect, but I at least acknowledge it. Like, at least take accountability for that. I'm not gonna lie, I struggle with that, because it's like, I'm willing to take accountability for whatever I've done. Why can't you do it? But then it's so many reasons why. I just want to be transparent and say that is a frustration for me. Other people not taking accountability.
I'm gonna say,
especially older people.
So our older generation,
we love y'all, but y'all be stuck in y'all ways.
Oh my God, we 90s babies. So to y'all folks, man, y'all 70s, 60s, 50s, y'all boys need to look in these mirrors. Like, y'all ain't perfect, and it's okay to not be perfect.
It's okay to admit that.
Oh my God, like you being self-accountable can change the trajectory of somebody's life instantly, because you don't know who you've hurt. If somebody around you don't want to be around you, stop them and talk like, what did I do? And if they tell you and you can recall that, you know, even if you can't, be that person to be like, I apologize. I understand my role in this. I didn't intend to hurt you. Like, bro, you can, to daddies and daughters, that's deep.
Life changing.
You know, to mothers and sons.
And sometimes sons to sons.
Man, like, look, it's real out here. We gotta keep it real. We gotta, like, I did the poem and I said, I don't know if the real ever come back. Like, we need it back. And it's so simple. It's so simple, but we making it so complicated, because everybody, that ego. Ooh, I can't wait till we talk about that.
Man,
that ego, everybody's so tough. You can whoop the world, you the baddest mother in the land, man. Can't nobody touch you with a 12-foot pole. Dog, stop.
I think my hope for moving forward is my hope moving forward is to bridge the gap of communication and self-accountability between generations, because you have, I'll just say, our parents' generation and our grandparents' generation, if you still have your grandparents, where they were raised on survival, and we were kind of raised up from them on survival, but we are a generation that's a little more privileged and have the luxury of having the internet to be our therapists and our counselors, and to explain all of this trauma that our parents and our grandparents experienced and why we react certain ways. And like, we can better assess ourselves. And I think that a frustration for me, I'm gonna speak for our generation, is that we just want to help our parents. Like, some of our parents have really instilled certain trauma, and we know it's not intentional. We know that our parents, a lot of them did the best they could with what they had. So are all of our parents perfect? No. But they did the best they could do. And we, as our generation, we don't want to be like, you did this and you did that. And we just want to have communication to heal. Yeah. That's it. It's not a thing of saying, you were wrong, you did this is how you hurt me, da, 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 da. It's for us, it may be like, hey, we grew up seeing you do some stuff. Now that we're aware of all these like passed down traumas and like different stuff, we just want to help bridge this gap. We want to help you because we want to see our parents and our aunts and uncles and whoever, our older generation, we want to see y'all get healed because we know y'all been through traumas. Right. Like I look at my grandma all the time and she's starting to like open up a little bit more about certain things growing up, but I'm like, my God, like I just want to heal my grandmother. Like I just want to, like I sat with my aunt and my grandmother and talked about anxiety and certain things that, you know, maybe have happened to them in their past I won't go into, but it was just like, oh my God, like I just want healing for them and like to explain more of like what anxiety and just certain other issues is, yeah.
And we can get to it, but I'm gonna tell you, we're gonna have to box that ego. We gotta box it.
Biggest thing.
We gotta kick his ass. I'm gonna tell you right here, right now. I feel like, and you're female, but I don't know if you agree or disagree. I feel like the male ego is. That's the bad boy.
Older male ego.
Oh my God. When it's festered, that male ego, gentlemen, brothers, pops, grandpops,
it's gonna be the death of y'all. Pride.
Hey, bro, you gotta put that pride, that ego to the side. You gotta understand, like, bro, we all got a role. They always try to say the woman nurtures, man. We all gotta nurture, bro. We all got energies that we gotta give mutual respect to, so we gotta nurture too, and we can do that by putting that ego to the side. And you know what I'm saying, if a little boy fall, sometimes it's good to console him just the same you would do as a girl. You know, sometimes it's okay to tell them, yo child, I'm sorry, I messed up, I didn't give you this gift. Like, hey man,
apologize to your kids. Like, take it a step further. Ask your kids, is there anything that I've done that upset you, hurt you, or made you disappointed in me, if I said that right. Like fathers, mothers, ask your kids that question.
Yellow.
And really, like, and I'm not gonna lie, so I'm gonna say an example. I got a little baby cousin. He's like, how old is the middle one? Six. So like we were at Sunday dinner with my grandma, and I think we were talking about like planting a tree or something, and I don't know, we were talking about planting a lemon tree, and we were like, you know, little cousin, you know how to plant a tree or something? And he was like, yes, I do. And you plant it this way and that way and da-da-da-da. And he actually said the right answer, but I was like, Eli, like, well, I said his name, child. Well, I was like, you know, you don't know, like I tried to, it's like a natural response to be like, no, you don't know what you're talking about. And then I was like, that's how our parents do us. Like sometimes just because they're children, you know, they might know a little something. He actually knew what he was talking about.
And I had to step up and be like, nah.
He did. And then I was like, wait a minute. I actually heard him. Like,
I was like, nah, little cuz know what he talking about.
He actually know for a 6-year-old like, knows what he's talking about.
Sprout the seed and everything. And I'm like,
I didn't even know that. But that moment put into perspective for me, like, that's how our older folks do us, because they saw us as little babies and they think like, oh, well, they didn't know nothing, and you seen them grow, and I'm grown now, but in your eyes, you're still that little kid that it's like, are you smarter than a 5th grader? Most of the time, the 5th graders always win. You know why? Because they have more resources and they have more knowledge that's more recent, and
it's like,
and we don't have that recent knowledge.
Back in the day, over the time you trying to tell your mama or your dad like, hey, this is this, and they like, boy or girl, shut up, you don't know what you did. It's like, bro, nothing. That hurts a person right there. Man, that right there.
Yes.
And you spoke about it in our last part, or trauma responses, and you like, sometimes it's the tone.
It's your tone.
It's not how you. It's not what you say. It's how you say. Mm-hmm. Like if you tell me, "Are you sure that you know that and why?" Then you're making that child kind of think and be okay. Well, I can explain why. Mm-hmm. But if you just tell them, "Shut up, you don't know what."
You too young to understand.
Yeah, you too young to understand what you talking about. Now that's a whole different realm of them. Now they're getting shut down and shut off. Now they don't triggered. Now they don't know how to communicate in the future, all because you didn't take the moment and the time to say, dang, hold on, let me sit and listen. Or then if you sat and replayed it, you never took that time to say, my bad little Josh. You were saying what again? Oh, like, you gotta apologize, bro.
Mm-hmm.
And I like what you said to the mamas, to the daddies. It's time.
It's time. I'm
bro.
so serious. Parents, ask your children. I don't care if you got kids that are in middle school, kindergarten, or kids that are grown in their 20s and 30s. Ask your child, is there anything I've ever done to upset you, to hurt you, to make you disappointed in me? And really be open. Don't be defensive. Like, really have that conversation. Do you know that hard conversations will save a family? It don't matter if it's black, white, Puerto Rican, whatever. It will save a family. Like, too often we walk around with like stuff because, oh, we can't talk about it, or it's uncomfortable, or either, let's say you do have that conversation and your child tells you, well, you did this to me when I was younger, or you said this to me when I was younger, and that stuck with me. I have this issue now because of that. Are you ready to hear that? And even if you're ready to hear that, are you ready to take accountability and say, I did not intend to make you feel that way at all. I love you and I apologize.
And to that person receiving,
it's that simple.
To that person receiving that information, you have to live with it too. You got to let that hurt go too.
Let it go.
That's another thing. You have to be ready to let that hurt go too.
And it's not to hold. I think in my eyes, I don't know, because I'm trying. I don't really hold grudges to my knowledge, but I feel like older people think that we're gonna hang it over their heads, or like always bring it up, like you did this and you did. And that may be the case for some people. Kids on the receiving end don't always throw that up in your parents' or whoever's face, but like accountability on both sides. As long as that person owns up to it, they apologize to it, both y'all let it go.
My last story, my last little tidbit.
Healing. Yeah.
Once again, that dang Angela, that's mom's. But once again, she growing up, she was headstrong, but she came out of traumatic situations growing up in the ghetto and stuff like that. But she was headstrong, so of course she took that tone of, you don't know what you talking about? Shut up when grown folks talking. Shut up, get out my face, blah blah blah.
Understood.
But over the years and as she's grown and stuff, I have to tell her, like, thank you for becoming more understanding. Like, you know, now she's like, we had a falling out, about 3 years ago, and I ain't talked to my mom in like 3-4 months, all because I didn't send a card. And I was like, she's not being understanding. So eventually I just wrote a note and I apologized for my part in it. She hit me up, called me, and she apologized for her part in it. And it's like, man, to see the growth in somebody like that, that right there breaks.
Beautiful.
It's beautiful.
We
bro.
love to see it.
It breaks like curses. It's break like, and like now she's like the most, and she be like,
how would you, I'm sorry to interrupt, how would you describe your relationship after that happened? Was there any, like, do you bring that up? Is there any grudges, or?
Ain't no grudges. Like,
that's still your dog, right?
I sent my mama that goddamn card too.
Okay.
Cause right. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, it was my part. You know, you get this whole, sometimes a parent don't understand, or they know you better than you. Like, I'm busy. They know you probably
could have made time.
You could have made time. You know what I'm saying? It's what, 24 hours in a day. Like, stop playing.
It take 5 minutes to write a card, get a card, write a card, send it off. Right. Understood.
So, you know what I'm saying? And that, like I said, I don't hold it over her head if she was wrong or nothing. I'm like, mama, you know, we just got to work through it. And we do. Like, so to the parents that's like, I'm scared because they gonna hold it, like, bro, no, after it's said and done, and to the person receiving that apology or that accountability for somebody, hey man, hug them, kiss them, do whatever, and be like, look, I thank you, and let it die, bro.
The irony of wanting to have tough conversations like that is because we love y'all. our generation, and I'm speaking not just for me or for Josh, because I see it in a lot of my peers, like with their parents or whoever raised their guardians or whoever. It's always a grudge or something that happened that we're holding on to because they don't want to address it. And it's like, we love y'all. That's why we want to have the conversations, but it's genuinely rooted in love. And if you're coming to your older whoever and is not in love, like, evaluate that and how it's gonna come off. But basically, long story short, to sum this up, everybody just love each other and take accountability. That's it. This world will be so better if you just take accountability for self. All right. So with that being said, y'all, let's go ahead and get us some fresh air. Let's step out to the park with poetry in the park. It looks like it's Husky Hefe's turn up.
It's time for Bucket Hat Blues.
Okay.
Poetry in the Park. It is your boy Husky Hefe coming down on the ones and twos. So nevertheless, let's hit them with a clap and get there. 1, 2, 3, yeah. What's up? Welcome to Poetry in the Park. It's none other than Joshua Gray, Husky Hefe, the Fat Fitness model, Jose Cortez, and this is what, like, take 4 for me. So let's get into it. This poem is entitled Forgive, Pride, and Love. Focus on yourself. Realize your role. Give into the help. Intention ain't always attended to. Very unforgiving is what the pain will do. Everyone has feeling. Just a simple reminder. Put your pride to the side. Recognize your role. Implement the art of apology. Determine whether life is love or love is life. End the trauma of hurt by acknowledging your side. Let the good times roll. Operate out of love and care. Vital to the uplift of the people, evolution of self-accountability has to be there. That was Forgive, Pride, and Love by me. Woo!
And we back.
So how did y'all like it?
Hey, Dora, the Explorer style. Did you like it?
Yeah. Insert yeah.
Applause. Woo.
Well, nevertheless, man, we thank y'all for coming through on another episode. Look, make sure you staying active with us.
Make sure you staying active with us. Follow us on Instagram at I Lost My Podcast. If you're listening to this, which I've recently, sad to say, I just started listening to our podcast because I usually watch on YouTube. But if you've never watched us on YouTube for the visual, we do have a visual. It's on YouTube on our channel, I Lost My Podcast. We're on Apple, Google, Spotify podcast under I Lost My Podcast. Share with your friends, y'all. We are genuinely trying to heal and have tough conversations and work through things together. This is a safe space. And let us know what y'all think. Message us.
Make sure you donate too. We got I Lost My Podcast donations on Cash App, PayPal.
Pen Pal, okay.
I had a pen pal. PayPal and Venmo. And Venmo. We also have a Discord that we're gonna start back up. So I Lost My Podcast at everything. We thank y'all for everything that y'all.
And follow us if you want to follow us individually. I'm on Instagram at It's Just Michi G.
I am SL Josh Mundo. I'll try to insert that because it's difficult. Or don't forget Husky Cheesecakes. Oh, shout out before we go, shout out to Austin Peay State University, man. The homecoming was this past weekend. We went out there with cheesecakes with Husky Cheesecakes, and we got people some of those good cheesecakes
ever.
But shout out to
that banana pudding made me hurt myself. Let me tell you.
So shout out to everybody who supported Husky Cheesecakes. If y'all need hosts next year, man, call your boy Husky Hefe.
Anybody.
Model Jose Cortez. I am him. Jutro. I'm telling you, I'm gonna tear it down. Y'all need me.
For sure.
What I'm saying? It comes at a fee, but y'all need me.
For sure.
Let me say it again. It comes at a fee, but y'all need me.
Okay. All right.
So with that,
now you know.
Yeah. I may have lost my podcast, but it seems as if I found you. So with you, anything and everything is possible. Thanks for coming through once again, my friend.
We love y'all so much. Share us, tell a friend. See y'all next week.
Hey.
Bye.